Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody who will be joining us here on this program tonight. We're not going to have video again tonight, video intro to this program. We're not going to have an exit video as well. We're going to be hopefully getting a new computer very soon, but we're still in negotiation to try to get a new computer. We appreciate any and all of you who continue to either contribute to our P.O. Box or to our PayPal. One of our dear friends contributed today to our post office box. Phil and Jan, we want to thank you for your generous donation. Phil and Jan sent us a beautiful card, ladies and gentlemen. It's a gorgeous card. It reads on the outside a note of thanks. On the inside it says, "We both understand and are grateful for all the days and hours you put in to keep us prepared and updated on all the events happening these days. We've had high winds, and we're hearing rain and deep snow in the past few weeks, and we're feeling earthquakes daily. God bless you, Ron. Sincerely, Phil and Jan." We really appreciate that so much, Phil and Jan, and a gorgeous card to boot. Thank you so much for that. I want to also thank Olivia, who sent us a generous donation on PayPal. And also, Greg sent us another donation to PayPal, and we appreciate that. But in order to get a new computer and go on the air like we need to do, we're going to need to have more donations. And I'm sorry, it sounds like I'm begging. I don't want to sound that way. But folks, I appreciate all that you do. God bless you for that. Rebecca says no notice from YouTube about us going on the air, and I'm sorry about that. YouTube is supposed to be giving everybody notice. If you are subscribed to YouTube as you are, and you've hit that little notification bell, you have to click on that little notification bell after you subscribe. Once you click on that notification bell, that should give you a drop-down menu of 3 items. You click on the word ALL, all. That way you should get notified every time we come on the air. Now, we come on the air at odd times as well. Whenever we have a major event happening anywhere in the world, we've always come on the air to tell you about that. We always will. But lately, YouTube has not been notifying anybody when we come on the air. Sleeping Volcano, thank you for being here. She says she got notice as well. Demon Cat, one of our other mods here, we thank you for being here, and as well as NCWQ, Worldwide News and Explorer, we appreciate you as well. Thank you for being here. Richard's here from Nova Scotia. Thank you. Linda Covington's here. Thank you so much for that. She says, I'm here without YouTube's notification. Go figure. Yeah, that's typical. YouTube has not been notifying people. YouTube has been suppressing views on everyone's YouTube programs. Everybody's across the board. All of my friends are talking to me, telling me the same thing. It's not just us here. It's not just Rebecca. It's not just myself that come on the air almost daily telling you what's going on. You know, I come on every day unless there's something major going on with me. I still try to come on the air. I think I missed maybe 7 days in 5 years. Go figure. 7 days coming on the air, and that includes 2 Sunday schools that I missed that I made up. But I always come on the air. Al Sanchez says, I finally got notified 3 minutes ago. That's great. But we appreciate that. We want all of you to understand how much we love and appreciate you. Demon Catman said, I had to reset notification on here the other day, so check the bell. Always folks, check the bell. If you're having problems with your subscription or getting booted off this program, unsubscribe and immediately resubscribe to this program. That is essential. Okay? And when you resubscribe, always go to that little tiny notification bell and click on that. Like I said, a drop-down menu of 3 items will come up. Click on the word ALL. That should get you notified whenever we do come on the air. Okay? It's great. It's usually just great. But folks, that's what happens. Now, last night I talked about that X6.3 solar flare that launched from the sun the other day. That solar flare had wide range complications. That was the largest X-class flare that we probably had in 100 years. The largest solar flare in probably 100 years, maybe even longer. It did a lot of damage. It knocked some satellites out of orbit. It even did damage to other satellites that still are in orbit. Elon Musk satellites that he put up specifically so people would have internet services had been damaged. Okay? Elon Musk satellites had been damaged. SpaceX satellites that they put up for the space station and for space launches for SpaceX, they have also been damaged. Electrical communications all over the world have been damaged. Now, with that said, the government said that there were hackers that took down communications all over the world, including here in the United States. Government hackers. I say government hackers, okay? There were 3 items that were listed as a cause of our telecommunications going down the other day. The solar flare was listed as the number 1. 2, hackers. 3, the government. I honestly believe it probably is a combination of 2, the solar flares and the government. And I'm going to get into that in just a minute. I want to tell you about what's going on with the solar flare and what happened, okay? The solar flare had a lot of plasma radiation. That plasma radiation made it through the outside shields that the Earth has, the magnetosphere. It made it through. It disrupted communications all over the world via satellite. It disrupted communications of the U.S. space station. Now, with that said, many satellites have gone down. Communications have gone down worldwide. Gmail and Google was compromised. CenturyLink communications, television and radio communications has been compromised. Microsoft 365 also went down. DoorDash went down. Wells Fargo went down. Cox Television Communications also went down. Facebook had problems worldwide. Instagram, who's part of the Facebook family now, under their own brand, went down. Amazon Web Services went down. AT&T, as we reported last night, also went down. Cell phone communications with Cricket. Verizon. T-Mobile, although my T-Mobile wasn't damaged at all, was not compromised at all. Consumer Cellular went down. Boost Cellular went down. Straight Talk Walmart Cellular went down. US Cellular went down. Destiny went down. WebEx went down. Okay? All those communications went down. Okay? Yesterday I said there's no way that the solar flare could have taken it down. I have revised my ideas. Okay? As I stated last night, this is not a crystal ball, by the way. I'm using this as an example of the Earth, okay? The solar flare, and I wish I could show you a picture, but the solar flare came from the sun, from the upper left west side of the sun, facing Earth. It hit on the darkest part of the Earth, okay? I'm sorry, it didn't hit on the darkest part of the Earth. It hit on the lightest side of the Earth, where the sun was shining. It was the southern hemisphere, okay? It hit like this. The satellites and countries on the solar-facing part of the Earth, the part of the Earth that was lit, it hit there. Any communications there was compromised. But as the solar system does, all of the planets rotate around the sun. They orbit around the sun. The East Coast was still dark when this solar flare went off, this X 6.3. The West Coast was visibly dark. It went off just after 1 a.m. West Coast time. East Coast, it was 3 hours later, 4 a.m. But regardless, when the solar flare happened, part of the radiation immediately hit the Earth. It was a fast-moving solar flare. The solar flare radiation hit the Earth, the plasma radiation. It affected the satellites. But as I explained yesterday, the plasma radiation hit the Earth down here in the southern hemisphere. Then it went around the rest of the Earth, including the upper atmosphere and the upper areas, the highest orbits of satellites around the Earth. That's how it damaged those communication satellites. Television, radio communications were compromised. Okay? That happened. Now, I also believe that the government had a hand in this as well. I will never let them off the hook. Okay? I will never let the government off the hook ever. I know too much. The government influence is great. When they want to set something off or turn something off, they do it. They do it. The government has their fingers in all facets of the world, not just the United States. But folks, it still happened. It still happened. Now, it's not just that. Okay? Let me give you some more information if you haven't already heard. Over the past 5 years, especially during the pandemic, I spoke of a man named George Soros. Okay? I spoke of how evil that man is. He's still allowed to run around and do whatever he wants to do. George Soros is very rich, a lot of money. He continues influencing every facet of our lives around the world. Over in Singapore, Singapore has a communications outlet. It's called Cumulus Communications. It's the world's third largest communications outlet. Cumulus owns radio and television stations all over. Let me tell you, George Soros and two of his sons have now bought out Cumulus Communications, the third largest communications outlet in the world.
I don't know.
They're still doing it. They're still doing it. George Soros is still having a major impact. not just here in this country, but around the world. George Soros paid for the campaigns of several attorney generals. He's paid for the campaigns, not just attorney generals, but judges, helping get those judges in office. Folks, he doesn't want any conservative voices to be heard at all. George Soros recently, within the last year, bought up 50 Spanish-speaking radio stations. Now, Odyssey, the second largest major radio station owner, guess what? Odyssey has 1.3 billion radio and television stations. And George Soros is looking to taking over not just Odyssey, but Cumulus. George Soros will be controlling 2/3 of all radio stations all over the world. 2/3. iHeartRadio, iHeartMedia is really the only other major radio station holding in the world. Wilson says Cumulus is Dan Bongino's station. Yes, it is. Mark Levin, I should say. He's over there on Odyssey. Mark Levin, Sean Hannity, and others over on Odyssey. George Soros doesn't like those gentlemen. Guess what? Those guys are going to be out of work because George Soros doesn't like them, because they put out the word of conservative people like you and I. It's not going to stop. It's going to continue. Our voices are going to be silenced. Our voices are going to be silenced. Willie Beeman says Hannity sucks. I used to like Hannity. I don't live in an area right now where I can get Hannity's radio shows, or I'd probably be listening to some of them. I used to listen to Hannity all the time. But anyway, George Soros is going to have control over everybody very, very soon. Willie Beeman says, too mild, Ron. Yeah. Hal Turner's where it's at too, okay? Every communications person, every popular radio station has these popular people on board. Soros is going to control them. Soros is a communist. He is an avowed communist. So all of these major communications outposts are going to be controlled by George Soros. Now, with what I said, the solar flare, I believe, had more of a major impact than I had given it credit for yesterday. But again, there were also hackers. Demon Catman, thank you. We appreciate that. There were hackers. And I can't ever stop blaming the government for what happens. Okay? I believe there's a lot more stuff that the government is involved in than we know about. But I'm just telling you guys, just watch what's going on. Just be very careful, because they are going to take everybody down. Okay? They're going to take everybody down. Richard Smith is here in the chat saying liberalism lost favor with me because of Justin Trudeau. I totally get that. Justin Trudeau is a thorn in a lot of people's sides. And I'm hoping that the people of Canada will get him kicked out of being the emperor of Canada. That's basically what he is. Okay. Aubrey is saying United Healthcare was also affected. Probably right. But guys, I don't think it's just a solar flare. Just be aware of what you're doing, where you're listening, and if something happens, please let me know so I can tell everybody about it. The only people that will be able to talk is on social media. But YouTube is a major thorn in a lot of people's sides, including mine. Rebecca was on the air earlier today, 3 different times. This last time, I know for a fact that there were at least 3 people that were watching her program. Yet, YouTube said that there was only one person that viewed her program. Earlier, YouTube said 6 people saw her program. NCWQ says there were 7 at one minute. Okay? But again, YouTube is lying to everybody. Last night, when we signed off the air, we had 4,372 people that had viewed our program. 4,372 people that had viewed our program. Today, that number went up to 4,600. 4,600 plus. Okay? That's the most number that we've had ever. Actually, that's not true. There were a couple times when we went on the air for major events that happened, we had 5,000 twice. But so far, this is the closest we've ever come to having 5,000 again. It might happen again tonight. I would hope it would. But it's still, YouTube is still lying about what's going on. They said 4,600 plus people only saw 3 minutes of our program. That's virtually impossible. Number-wise, it's virtually impossible that only 3 minutes of our program was seen by 3,600 plus people. It's incredible. YouTube continues to suppress our numbers as well. They always have and always will. Now, you all know that I don't trust them any further than I can throw them. That will always be the case. Okay? I will never, ever be able to trust YouTube ever. Because what they've done to me and what they've done to a lot of people. A lot of people. There is no rhyme or reason for what YouTube has done and continues to do. Okay? There's no rhyme or reason. If they don't like you, they'll let you know very quickly. And they have done that with me. Now, if you want true information, there's people like me all over the internet. Literally. They're all over YouTube and they're all over Rumble. Now, at some point, I will go back to Rumble. At some point, I will go back to Rumble. But last week when I tried to do my show, Rumble was taken down. It was not available. I had problems staying on the air when I was with Rumble last weekend, and I've had problems a couple of other times. Falcon Fury says, how is YouTube cheating people? Falcon, I just explained that to you. I just got through explaining that. If you want to listen to it, go back and find out. Falcon Fury says, how? I just told you how. Go back and check it out. Falcon Fury says, what is Rumble? Rumble is a conglomerate just like Facebook or YouTube. Not like Facebook, but YouTube. Rumble lets almost anyone say what they want, except if they're vulgar or they're putting out bad content, raunchy content. But it's very much like YouTube otherwise. But they don't try to silence voices. Falcon Fury just found this platform, and I'm glad you found it. Yes, it's another streaming platform. I hope you're subscribed to our program, because we will continue to put out more and more information so that everybody will be able to get the information that they need. Okay? Johnny Rush says the algorithm is set to disconnect and disrupt Christian channels, and they have. I teach Sunday school on Sundays, and they've disrupted that many times. They continue to put out false information about our channel. They don't tell everybody what we're doing. They just don't. They don't let everybody know when we come on the air for Sunday school. And they've interrupted our Sunday school programs many times. Now, James Baraka says Rumble is hard to navigate. Yes, it is. But I'm willing to put up with it for now, just so we get out our message. Now, I just checked back in with last night's program. It now says, instead of just 3 minutes, it now says we reached 17 minutes and 44 seconds of viewing by nearly 5,000 people. Isn't that interesting? Nearly 5,000 people viewed last night's program, and there's still less than even 20 minutes of view time. When YouTube was saying that we had 400, 500, 600 people viewing our program, we would have 20, 22, 24, upwards of 26 minutes worth of viewing. And I knew even then that YouTube was not being honest about that. But it's continuing. It continues. James Baraka just gave us another $5 super chat. Thank you so much, James. We appreciate that so much. We really appreciate that. That means the world to me. Let me see if I can do this here. There we got. I just put our seal of approval on James's super chat here. Just gave us $5. We appreciate that. Guys, also here on YouTube, whenever you donate money to YouTube, YouTube takes anywhere from 40 to 50% of our money. They do. Then we get maybe 60% tops. Okay? So they take at least 40 to 50% of our money. If you contribute to PayPal or Venmo, I would hold off on Venmo for a little while, because Venmo has shut down my channel, or shut down my outlet on Venmo. But PayPal still is there. I can still get PayPal donations. You can also contribute to our program and what we do here by sending donations through the post office. P.O. Box 422, Valdese, North Carolina. Valdese, Valdese, North Carolina. The zip code is 28655. We appreciate each and every one of you contributing to our program. We're trying to get a new computer so we can use the computer to go back on the air. But folks, meantime, I'm here using my telephone, getting the word out now. And I'm going to continue that. I think we're making a difference. Okay? Wilson says, because you tell the truth, they fine you. That's right. They do that. James Brecken says, the post office is the way I will do it in the future. I appreciate that, James. I really do. We've only had one instance over 5 years where the post office screwed me by taking money or a check from a card. It was inserted in the middle of a card. They cut the side of the envelope open and then taped it. Okay? EXR saying, what kind of a computer? I'm looking at a lot of different kinds of computers now. I'm not necessarily looking for the least expensive, but I'm looking for quality. I don't want any more computer problems. This is my second computer that I've had, and this is the only computer I've used on YouTube. Well, actually, that's not true. I had a computer here that I thought I might be able to do it, and I still could not do it. But the computer that I had been on up until this week was my primary computer, and it finally doesn't let me broadcast on YouTube anymore. It doesn't hardly let me do anything anymore, unfortunately. So we're looking for another computer. I'm hoping to get it within the next few days so we can go back on the air very soon. Carl Smith says Dell or HP are usually the best. And yes, I've been looking at Dell and HP. The computer I have now is an Asus, ASUS, and it's been a very good computer. I've had HP, I've had Dell computers as well. I have a HP printer here. It's been a good thing until recently. But I'm trying to do the best for all of you, trying to do the best for me here to make sure we can do the things we need to do. But folks, we're doing the best right now. I appreciate everything that you do to help support me and help keep this program on the air. EXR says it's about the components, not the brand. I agree. I'm not computer savvy necessarily, but I have a pretty good background. Okay. Carl Smith says he's worked on Asus. They are decent. I agree, they are. Anyway, I appreciate everything that you've done for me and that you continue to do for me and our family. It means the world to me. Anyway, folks, do you have any questions so far of what we're talking about? I want to talk about some earthquakes that have happened today. Again, the USGS is not the best source of information when it comes to earthquakes. If I had use of another phone, I could go to the EMSC map and I could be very well better aware of the earthquakes that have happened around the globe. Yes, I've already looked at it, but I'm not going to refer to it right now because I'm talking on my phone. I'm broadcasting on this phone. EXCR has had the chat that they put up hidden by one of my mods, Don Patoka. You cannot use a website in our chat. You cannot talk about another broadcaster or creator, whether it be on from YouTube or Rumble, whoever it is. We can't do that. Okay? Please don't do that. Okay? I chose Don because he's a loyal, wonderful friend. Never judge a book by its cover. Okay? I chose him. The people that I have chosen are mods are stand-up people. Our mods are the best in the business as far as I'm concerned. Falcon Fury says, have you tried going live on YouTube with a webcam? Yes, I have a webcam and I have used it. Okay. I've had an external webcam for a long time, and I bought another web camera that's even better that I've been using. No, Falcon Fury says, would it allow you to use your phone at the same time? No, it won't let me do that. Sungazer says, what did you say not to do? I was reading an email. We don't want you to put up a website in the chat. We don't want you to use another website or put up another web creator's work link to our chat, nothing like that. The only thing I will allow you to do is if you pass it by me first and get my permission. Until then, don't do it. Okay? Linda Covington's also here saying, remember, no capital letters either. Never use nothing but capitals. Okay? Don't use capitals on this chat. YouTube looks like YouTube uses that as screaming, so don't do it, please. Otherwise, it'll take our chat down. YouTube has its own moderators, and they've been here on occasionally and have actually taken people down. So please don't do that, okay? Please don't do that. Someone said, how about a tablet? Yes, I have a tablet, but it is not as strong as a computer is. I don't want to trust this program to a tablet, okay? It's crazy. Richard Smith is here in the chat saying, dang YouTube going crazy on me tonight. Yes, they do that. Unfortunately. Just be careful, guys. Just be careful. Anyway, guys, I want to talk about earthquakes. Earthquakes are happening all over the globe, literally. Okay? Literally. In the South Pacific today, in the south middle of the Pacific, we had a 6.3 magnitude earthquake in the southern East Pacific Rise. The southern East Pacific Rise is an earthquake fault that comes and goes in a northwesterly fashion away from Chile in South America, southern Chile in South America. It goes probably 2,000 miles, maybe actually it's probably even more than that. Probably closer to 5,000 miles out into the Pacific away from southern Chile. A 6.3 earthquake. They said this earthquake happened 2 kilometers deep. 2 kilometers deep. That's a shallow earthquake. A shallow earthquake just underneath the Pacific Ocean. If that had hit on land, there would have been major damage because it was so close to the surface. Okay? The USGS is showing 5 earthquakes in South America. One earthquake, they're showing a 4.4 near Total, Chile, 100 kilometers deep. That's still a fairly shallow earthquake. To the northeast, San Antonio de los Cobres, Argentina. This is getting to be a very popular place for earthquakes. The past 2 years, we've counted probably 50 earthquakes that have been around San Antonio de los Cobres, Argentina. Today, a 4.6 hit there. That earthquake was 221 kilometers deep. Still a fairly shallow earthquake. Going north in Chile, a 4.7 earthquake hit in southern Chile. East-northeast of STK, Peru. ESTIQUE, STK, Peru. This was 168 kilometers deep. Still a fairly shallow earthquake. Okay? Now, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you about 2 other earthquakes, but I'm going to tell you this. There's over 25 earthquakes in South America today. United States Geological Survey, referred to as USGS, because that's what they do. They lie about how many earthquakes. They lie about the veracity of the earthquakes, the strength of the earthquakes. They lie about everything. They lie even about the locations of a lot of the earthquakes as well. They're only showing 5 earthquakes in South America. Go figure. One other earthquake in northern Peru is a 5.0 earthquake, 10 kilometers deep, 64 kilometers northwest of Alejandro, Peru. Okay? It's over in the Pampas on the on the eastern side of the Andes Mountains. The next earthquake is over in northern Colombia, Valdese, Colombia, a 4.6 earthquake there. This was 65 kilometers deep. 65 kilometers deep. Okay? Let's go over here into the Pacific. Over still in the southern Pacific. We're looking at a 5.3 earthquake that hit over in Tonga, near Fongalei-Unga, Tonga. This was 112 kilometers deep, 68 kilometers from the island. The earthquakes out in the ocean water absorbs the shock waves. If it's far enough out, such as this earthquake in Tonga or over on the West Chile Rise, nobody even felt those earthquake seismic waves at all. The ocean water absorbs the shock waves. Another earthquake that just happened, okay? If you have an earthquake map of the USGS, it's in red today. Ternate, Indonesia. It just happened. A 4.6 earthquake in Ternate, Indonesia. This is 45 kilometers deep. They had 4 earthquakes off the coast of Mindanao, Philippines today. USGS shows none. The USGS is only showing 2 other earthquakes off the coast of northern Sumatra. Actually, not just northern Sumatra, central Sumatra is one of those quakes. It was a large 5.2 earthquake off the coast of Teluk Dalam, Indonesia. This was 22 kilometers deep, a fairly shallow quake. Just north of there, off the coast of northern Sumatra, a 4.5 earthquake today off of Sinabung, Indonesia. Sinabung, Indonesia is over in northern Sumatra, Indonesia. It's also home to the big volcano, the big stratovolcano over in Sinabung, Indonesia. It has been very active up until late. As of the last couple months, it hasn't been active at all, which is lucky, because usually there is. Okay? Usually it is. Thank you, mods, for doing what we've asked you to do. Okay, you folks here on our channel, I just got through telling you a few minutes ago, you can't use foul language on our channel. You cannot use and put other websites on this channel. We don't allow you to put other creators' information on this channel. You can't harass me. You can't harass our mods either, or do other things that are completely irresponsible. Otherwise, your chats will be hidden off the chat. And in some cases, you will be removed from our program permanently. Don't do it. Don't do it, please. There's one earthquake over in southeastern India, near Myanmar. It's on the border between India and Myanmar. Or Myanmar, I'm sorry, not Myanmar, Myanmar. It was a moderate 4.2 earthquake, also 66 kilometers deep. Going north into the Pacific, I'm going to tell you about earthquakes, but tell you this, that again, USGS is hiding information. Going over north of Taiwan, between Taiwan and southern Japan, we have another moderate 4.4 earthquake there, 10 kilometers deep. Just south of Kyushu, Japan, there's another 5.3 earthquake off the coast of Kyushu, Japan. 5.3 earthquake. This is 401 kilometers deep. This is a fairly deep earthquake. It's not deep, but it's fairly deep. 401 kilometers deep. This 5.3 earthquake will propagate, I'm saying this, it's going to propagate another large earthquake. A much larger, much shallower earthquake, probably a 6.1, 6.2 earthquake. 401 kilometers deep, 5.3 earthquake here. It's going to propagate a larger, shallow earthquake to the tune of a 6.0, 6.1 earthquake. This earthquake could be felt over in China, or not China. Well, it could be felt in China, but it could be felt in Taiwan. It's going to hit probably within the next 3 to 10 days, 72 hours to 10 days. It could also hit in Japan itself. We've had numerous earthquakes lately hit in Japan, big earthquakes. Today on the western side of Japan, there's a peninsula called the Noto Peninsula. USGS is still not showing any earthquakes there. However, there are 3 small earthquakes over in Noto, Japan. For whatever reason, United States Geological Survey doesn't show it. Yet they show other earthquakes as well. Go figure. Go figure. It's insane. It's just insane. Sweet Polly Purebred's here in the chat, and I appreciate that too. She's a dear friend of our channel and a friend of mine. Thank you so much for being here. Now, I want to go over into China itself. There was another earthquake over in Western China. It was a large 5.0 earthquake near Aikol, Japan, Aykol, Japan. This was 10 kilometers deep, a very shallow earthquake. Also over in Afghanistan, near Kunduz, Afghanistan. The earthquake in Afghanistan was a 4.6 earthquake, a moderate earthquake. Let me get a drink of water here real quick. Water helps everything, believe me. Okay? Then we go over to the area, the region of Turkey and Syria, the border region of Turkey and Syria. USGS still does not show any earthquakes there. However, guess what? There are plenty of earthquakes. Approximately 60 earthquakes in the Turkey-Syria border region. USGS shows none. US shows no earthquakes over in the Middle East at all, except in Afghanistan. They're not showing any earthquakes at all in Turkey, yet there are. Probably 15 other earthquakes in Turkey. They're not showing any in Greece at all. There's about 25 earthquakes in Greece. They're not showing any. NCWQ Worldwide News and Disasters Explorer just gave us a $2 super chat. Thank you, Rebecca. We appreciate that so much. God bless you for that. For my computer. God bless you, Rebecca. You're awesome. Demon Catman says antipode. An antipode from that Chinese earthquake, 5.0. Usually they don't even list antipodes, okay, for that small an earthquake. If we have an earthquake, probably, I want to say 6.0 and larger, usually a couple different earthquake apps would show an antipode. An antipode is just the opposite side of the earth from where the earthquake was. Meaning, scientists believe that seismic energy can be transmitted through the earth to the other side of the earth. So far, I personally have not seen that happen. But theoretically, it's possible. Okay? Theoretically, it's possible. I just haven't seen it in the 5 years that I've been doing this. Anyway, going further, Italy, they're still not showing hardly anything going on there, which is a big fallacy. They're showing one earthquake between Italy and Croatia. It's a fairly decent sized quake, being a 4.6 moderate quake, but it's only 10 kilometers deep, which is about 5 miles deep, 4.5, 5 miles deep. Okay, but a 4.6 earthquake in the ocean waters off the coast of Croatia and Italy today. But still, the USGS is still not showing all the earthquakes. There are probably 50 earthquakes in that region around Italy. Okay, there are earthquakes hitting Romania today. There are earthquakes hitting France, Germany, and Austria. They're not showing any there. There are earthquakes hitting over in Spain. They're not showing anything there as well. Earthquakes hitting in Scandinavia, Norway, and Sweden. They're not being shown there either. Earthquakes hitting in Iceland. They're not showing any earthquakes in Iceland. Now, just so you know, I've been in communication the last couple of days with Iceland, a professor at the University of Iceland in Reykjavik. They are expecting another volcanic eruption just outside of Reykjavik. Seismic energy has moved north from the Reykjanes Peninsula past Grindavik and past the fissures that opened up just northwest of Grindavik, and they've gone north. Seismic energies now move north. The seismic energy is called earthquakes. The seismic energy is caused by molten magma beneath the surface. Now, there's something else that's causing it as well. The Mid-Atlantic Fault flows right straight through Iceland. It's partially responsible for some of those earthquakes that have hit in Iceland. It is my belief, and scientists are also going on this belief as well, that the Mid-Atlantic Fault that goes all the way from the South Antarctic Ridge all the way north through the Atlantic Ocean up into the North Pole, the Mid-Atlantic Ridge is expanding. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge is pushing Europe and Africa to the east. We believe that the Mid-Atlantic Fault is splitting or going to split Iceland in half. Okay? The Mid-Atlantic Fault is also pushing the North American plate in a southwesterly direction, causing, like I said, and like I've talked about this week, earthquakes on the East Coast. Okay? That's happened. It continues to happen. It's crazy. It's crazy. Demon Catman says, Bob the Builder, can he do it? No, he can't. No. Not being allowed. A Demon Catman, you're a card. You're so funny. Anyway, I want to talk now about some earthquakes in Puerto Rico. 4 years ago, just over 4 years ago, there was a United States-led facility that was responsible for 2 major 8-point-plus earthquakes. One 8.0 hit on December 26th in southwestern Puerto Rico. Another 8.4 hit on December 28th in Puerto Rico, 2019. The agency is here. Now, please, folks, do not put the name of this agency in chat. Please don't put it in chat. Okay? YouTube doesn't like us talking about that agency. I don't even like saying that word here on the channel. But that agency lit up their facility in Norway. That agency lit up their facility in Russia. They also lit up the facility in northwestern Australia. What happened? Those facilities triangulated southwestern Puerto Rico and caused the 8.0 earthquake on December 26th. It did major damage. It flattened homes. It flattened buildings. It killed a few people. They lit it up again on December 28th. That earthquake also did major damage throughout western Puerto Rico. It shook the place up quite a bit. There was a natural arch, a great big huge natural arch down in southwestern Puerto Rico. It was similar to the arches that you see in Utah at the Arches National Park. It finally flattened that arch, knocked it over and split it open in a million pieces. That was a tourist attraction in Puerto Rico. It's no longer there because of that earthquake. Since 4 years ago, there continue to be aftershocks from those quakes. Today, there was a 4.3 earthquake in Guinea, Puerto Rico, 16 kilometers deep. There was also 2.8 there, Guinea, Puerto Rico. Guanica, Puerto Rico, there's a 2.3 earthquake. Parguera, Puerto Rico, a 2.2 earthquake. And a 2.9 near Pole, Oye, Puerto Rico. Pole, P-O-L-E, capital O-J-E-A, Puerto Rico. A 2.9, 3.0 earthquake. And a 3.2 earthquake there as well. Now, if I was on the computer, I would show you these areas. Down here in southwestern Puerto Rico, these areas are real. They are small cities in southwestern Puerto Rico. Port cities, if you will. They're quite popular with tourists and locals alike. And yet this area was destroyed 4 years ago. It's unreal. It's unreal. These earthquakes continue there in southwestern Puerto Rico. Aftershocks of an 8.0 and 8.4 earthquake 4 years ago. Over in south central Puerto Rico on the coast, there's a 2.0 earthquake there, a minor 2.0 near Salinas, Puerto Rico. Going further east along the coastline of eastern Puerto Rico, southeastern Puerto Rico, is a 2.3 earthquake there, a minor 2.3 near Emawagua, Puerto Rico, EMAJA, Puerto Rico, a 2.3 earthquake. Northwest of Puerto Rico, 27 kilometers northwest of San Antonio, Puerto Rico, there's another 3.0. That 3.0 and these other three earthquakes I'm going to tell you about have nothing to do with that 8.0 and 8.4 earthquake that hit in southwestern Puerto Rico 4 years ago. These three earthquakes I'm talking to you now were dropped by the Cayman Ridge. The Cayman Ridge is a underwater earthquake fault. It's a huge trench in the Caribbean. That trench originates over in Guatemala. It runs east through the Caribbean, south of the Cayman Islands, north of Jamaica. It skirts the southern edge of Cuba. It continues to run east, north of Haiti and the Dominican Republic, and north of Puerto Rico. It dropped that 3.0 west-northwest San Antonio, Puerto Rico. It also dropped another 3.4. This one is almost directly north of Arecibo, Puerto Rico. Then there's another earthquake northeast of Puerto Rico, 59 kilometers north of Culebra, Puerto Rico. Culebra, Puerto Rico is an island off the coast of Puerto Rico, a tourist trap, if you will. The only way you can get to Culebra is by boat. There's a couple restaurants on Culebra, Puerto Rico, on the island that frequent tourists and people on small boats and stuff that frequent that area. But that's all there is there. It's a small tourist trap. Okay? That's where that 3.5 earthquake is, out in the Caribbean there. The Cayman Ridge goes north of Puerto Rico and it continues east. It continues east around the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Then once it gets past the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, it takes an almost abrupt turn to the south. It goes just east and south of the Leeward Islands. It continues south until it gets out in the Pacific just east of Venezuela, at which point it turns and heads directly into northern Venezuela, the Cayman Ridge. The earthquakes that happen as a result of the Cayman Ridge are a result of earthquakes that happen in Central America. Okay? And USGS still does not show all the earthquakes in Central America. Go figure. Today, off the coast of southern Mexico, USGS is showing a 4.3 moderate earthquake. But again, it's not the only earthquake that's there. Wilson says, isn't that Cayman Ridge one of the deepest? He says it's the deepest shelf on the planet. I don't know whether it's the deepest shelf. I think the Mariana Trench is the deepest shelf. The Cayman Ridge is probably the second deepest ridge in the middle of the Caribbean Sea. Anyway, this 4.3 happened off the coast of southern Mexico. There are probably 25 to 30 earthquakes off the coast or on the coast of southern Mexico today. So most of those earthquakes are either 3.0 and larger or 4.0 moderate earthquakes. That's typically what we see. You don't see very many 2.0s or 2.5 minor quakes. They're usually all 3.0, 3.9 small quakes, and they even get up into the moderate range, 4.3, 4.5, and we've seen 4.7s as well. Occasionally, we'll see a large earthquake, a 5.0 or larger. In the 5 years that I've been doing this channel, we've seen two 7.0 and larger earthquakes. One just southeast of Mexico City. The other one's further south. Both earthquakes were responsible for earthquakes in Southern California. We've seen that. We called it. But over in southern Mexico today, there are over 25 to 30 earthquakes, and nothing USGS says about it. They're only talking about that 4.3 off the coast of southern Mexico. Go figure. Now, I want to go into the United States here. I want to start off in southern Texas. Falls City, Texas is still moving. Still moving. Almost 4 weeks ago, we had a 4.5 in Falls City, Texas. We're still getting 3.5s, 3.8, 3.9s, and even 4.0s hitting Falls City, Texas today. A 3.5, 5.6 kilometers deep, just about 2.5 miles deep, hit Falls City, Texas today. One of the main attractions in Falls City, Texas is that it lives, all those earthquakes are living in a earthquake fault prone area. What makes it so? Oil, gas, pumping jacks. Oil and gas pumping jacks. Falls City, Texas is right directly in the middle of an oil field. That's why they've been getting hit with earthquakes. A 3.5 today. Going northeast from there, Stearns, Kentucky. Stearns, Kentucky. A 2.1 earthquake. I believe this earthquake is connected to none other than the New Madrid Fault. Yes, there are other earthquakes there. This earthquake is on the west side of the East Continental Divide in the United States. Okay? Yes, it is possible that the Atlantic plate pushing on the North American plate may have caused this, but I believe this has connections to the New Madrid Fault. And they're not showing any earthquakes on the New Madrid Fault. Okay? USGS is only showing 250 earthquakes worldwide. So far, guys, I've shown probably 700 earthquakes that have hit. USGS shows 252. Go figure. Now, over in the Midwest, Pawnee, Oklahoma. Pawnee, Oklahoma also sits in an oil field. Today, a small 3.0 earthquake hit there, 7 kilometers deep in the middle of an oil field. Going to southwestern Texas. Southwestern Texas is embroiled in swarms of earthquakes, several swarms of earthquakes. The first swarm contributed to a 4.0 earthquake in Atoka, New Mexico. Atoka, New Mexico, a 4.0 earthquake. This earthquake, I don't believe, had anything to do with oil and gas pumping operations. I think this earthquake was more due to being in the Rocky Mountains, the southern end of the Rocky Mountains. Okay? Now, why is that important to know? We have had a lot of earthquakes up in northern Canada, the far north in northern Canada. A lot of earthquakes. Most of those earthquakes have been 3.0. Yes, there's been some 4.0s as well up in the Northern Territories. But seismic energy has been flowing out of the Northern Rockies all the way through Canada, all the way down through Montana, Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and down into Texas. Then I wish I could show you this map. I've got a map of the North American plate. The Rocky Mountains is the western side of the North American plate. Then it goes down into New Mexico, into southern Texas, and then it makes an abrupt turn southeast into Oklahoma. Then it stretches through southern Oklahoma. It takes a small dive over into the Georgia area, at which time it takes an immediate turn and goes up the eastern corridor of North America. The Blue Ridge Mountains and the Appalachian Mountains going north, the East Continental Divide. Now, this 4.0 in Atoka, New Mexico, I believe was part of the reason it hit, was it came out of the Rocky Mountains. There have been very many earthquakes in the Rocky Mountains here in the United States. That seismic energy has moved south. Okay? I believe that's what happened here. Now, Wilson says West Virginia. Yes, West Virginia as well. We've reported on a great many earthquakes in West Virginia, and Virginia for that matter. Linda Covington has asked, what is the moon phase tonight? I'm not exactly sure. I think the moon phase is probably, it's probably a waning moon. Let me see if I can look it up here. Let me see if I can look it up here. No, I don't have that information here. But I think it's a waning moon, if I'm not mistaken. Richard Smith says, wow, trolls are us again. Good work, mods. Yeah, the trolls are hitting us bad tonight. It's for the first time in quite a while we've had a bunch of trolls here. Anyway, south of New Mexico, down in southern Texas, we've had quite a few swarms of earthquakes there. Besides that 4.0 in New Mexico, we had a 2.8 aftershock of that 4.0 there. 2.8 was 6.2 kilometers deep. Okay. Then in southwestern Texas, swarms of earthquakes. Now, I am going to take a few minutes and talk about these earthquakes. Most of these are 2.0. However, there are some 1.6, 1.7, 1.8 tremors. Okay. 1.6, 2.1 minor earthquake, 1.8 tremor, 2.3 minor earthquake, northeast of there a 1.5 tremor, 1.9 2.0 earthquake, 1.5 tremor, 2.3 minor earthquake, 1.5 tremor, 1.8 tremor. This tremor is near El Paso, Texas, by the way. 1.5 tremor going northeast. 1.7 in Toya, Texas. 1.5 tremor, Toya, Texas. And further south in Toya, Texas. This actually is not Toya, Texas. It's 45 kilometers northwest in Toya, Texas, a 2.1 earthquake. All these are swarms of earthquakes happening in this area. They're all deeply, deep inside of oil fields. Pumps and jacks contribute to earthquakes. Pumps and jacks, oil and gas pumping, and also anywhere where we have drill points from drilling into upper magma chambers of volcanoes, that also contributes to earthquakes as well. Oil and gas drilling, fracking operations, and also operations to pull steam from the volcanoes causes earthquakes, because seismic energy comes and finds those holes in the ground. And then that seismic energy fractures rock inside those man-made holes, causing earth movement, otherwise known as earthquakes. That's what's going on here in Texas, including over in southern Texas in Falls City, Texas today. That's what's happening there. Okay? I want to make it very clear what's happening. Okay? Again, today, USGS is not showing any earthquakes at all in the Gulf of California, but there are. That's the problem. There are earthquakes there that they're not showing. How dare they? How dare they? There are earthquakes all over that area. Okay? Southern California, just south of Tijuana, Mexico, and near Ensenada, a 2.2 minor earthquake there. Over in the Imperial Valley of California, Southern California, there's also 1.2 tremor there. The town of Imperial, California, a 1.2 tremor there. Now, we just had some earthquakes that just hit this area. Ocotillo Wells has a 1.4 tremor that just happened, and also another 1.1 there closer to the Salton Sea. Okay? San Diego County. This earthquake was southeast of Rancho Santa Fe, California. Rancho Santa Fe is along the coast of California. Folks, this would be Encinitas, California. It's a 1.3 tremor there. We don't usually see earthquakes inland there, but that's what happened today. A 1.3 tremor, Encinitas, California today. This was 8.5 kilometers deep. Now, why did this happen? If I had the map here, I could show you the Newport Inglewood Fault coming out of Los Angeles. It goes out into the harbor off the coast of LA. It connects up with another fault zone. It's called the Rose Canyon Fault. The Rose Canyon Fault goes from Los Angeles out in the ocean, and then it cuts into North San Diego County, about Encinitas, just south of Rancho Santa Fe, California, where this earthquake hit. That's what I believe happened here. This earthquake is responsible, or this Rose Canyon Fault is responsible for this earthquake. As we've been reporting, we've had a bunch of earthquakes in Los Angeles, a ton of them. US and USGS and Caltech just don't talk about it. They don't want to admit what's going on. Wilson says he's in South Orange County. Wilson, I'm sure you're feeling some shaking there, some minor shaking. Minor tremors usually, even 2.0 up to 3.5 small earthquakes all over LA and Orange County, happening every day. Every day. Lama's Light says, are they drilling on purpose into magma? Not into magma. I don't believe they're drilling into magma at all. In the case of our scientists and the people that are searching for steam from the upper magma chambers of volcanoes, they're drilling into the upper magma chambers where they know there's steam, that there is steam. 67% of all magma is steam. So they drill into the upper magma chambers of these volcanoes. They're still drill points, holes in the ground. They don't drill into magma necessarily. But that steam is pumped over to the turbines in, for example, the geysers and Coso volcano, and also just south of the Salton Sea. I've shown you the turbine facilities south of the Salton Sea. In the past, I've shown you those turbines over in the Coso volcanic field. I've shown you the turbines over in the geysers and over just around Reno, Nevada. Okay? Reno, Nevada, they have another geothermal power plant. It's had a bunch of earthquakes recently as well. And there's another, and I'm going to be honest with you, over there, that facility, they've had some geysers there. Back in the 1950s and early 1940s, that geyser was one of the highest geysers in the world. Okay? And it's waking up again. It's waking up again. But those geothermal facilities take steam from those facilities to turn it into electricity. They take hot water from the magma chambers, around the magma chambers. They take that groundwater that's heated up, and it's taken and turned into spas in the area. They turn it over into a spa in the area that heats the water in the spas. That's what they're doing in Iceland. the Blue Lagoon in Iceland. It's geothermal. And yes, it is causing harm. Lamazalai says, but it seems to be causing harm. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So far, we have not had tremendous earthquakes as a result of it. But Texas, because of their oil and gas fracking operations, and Oklahoma too, has had 5.0 large earthquakes, 5.1 earthquakes recently. It's happening. Another earthquake in North San Diego County is in Borrego Springs, the Anza Borrego Desert State Park. That area's had 6 earthquakes today. The 0.5 in Borrego, the 0.7 in Borrego, 0.8 in Borrego, and over north of there in North San Diego County, a 0.3 in the Anza Gap, a 0.6 also in the Anza Gap, and a 0.2 in the Anza Borrego Desert State Park. Going north, Idlewild, California, San Bernardino Mountains. This earthquake here is a 0.8 microquake. Idlewild, California, in the San Bernardino Mountains on the San Jacinto Fault. Go figure. San Jacinto Fault. Going north there, up into Orange County. Calamasa, California, a 1.2 tremor. Also in Calamasa, 1.5 tremor. 1.0 in Loma Linda. Loma Linda, California. The San Jacinto Fault there. Go figure. Southwest of there in Home Gardens. Home Gardens. Glen Haven, California area. A 1.3 tremor there. We go almost directly west to Villa Park. Villa Park, California. A 2.0 earthquake. Unreal. North of Los Angeles in the mountains there. Okay, let's go north real quick. South Pasadena. South Pasadena had a 0.8 microquake today. Now, even with that 0.8 microquake, this coming week, when I go over and have a new computer, hopefully, I will pull the seismograms from Pasadena. The Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena just happens to have a seismograph. And it should show at least that microquake in Pasadena. So I'll pull that information and see if they even recorded it. Sometimes even on the seismograms, they doctor the information. Go figure. Wilson says dead center of Madrid is Oklahoma. No, dead center is Missouri. Just north, on the northern end of the New Madrid, we do have Tulsa, Oklahoma. Okay? We had earthquakes there in 2011 on the anniversary of the New Madrid earthquake. I just happened to be in Little Rock, Arkansas, conducting a disaster drill there. There were 3 small earthquakes on the northern New Madrid Fault. One of them close to Tulsa on the Monday when we started the drill. Crazy. Lamazalai says, this is weird. I'm on my phone and there's no like button. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't believe there is. There might be, but I don't remember. Okay. But anyway, that's a good observation, Wilson. Tulsa, Oklahoma, in that area is on the New Madrid Fault. It's not dead center. That's in Missouri. And there are plenty of earthquakes in Missouri. along the fault zone. Go figure. Go figure. We go north through California here on the New Madrid Fault. North of the New Madrid eastbound is the Mojave Desert, a 1.0 tremor there. North of there, Bonefish, California. Right smack dab in the middle of a volcanic field, we have a 1.1 tremor there. It has nothing to do with the San Andreas Fault. Volcanoes. Cyrils Valley up near Ridgecrest today, 1.3, 0.1 microquake, 1.1 tremor, and also a 1.4 smack dab in the middle of the Kosovo volcanic field. The Kosovo volcanic field. There just happens to be a geothermal power plant there. Harry Reid, former late senator of Nevada, is responsible for getting that geothermal field going. He helped appropriate money from the government to help that geothermal field going. Where man again has drilled into the upper magma chambers of the Kosovo volcanic fields there to harvest steam to power turbines to generate electricity for California there. Fun. Up northeast, Furnace Creek, California, a 1.2 tremor there. Going up the San Andreas, guess what? Earlier this week, we had a 3.5 earthquake at the earthquake capital of California, Parkfield, California. Today, we have a 1.2 tremor there. Wonderful thing. I've been in Parkfield. I've seen what happened because of the earthquakes in Parkfield. They had to divert roadways around the fault zone because the fault actually twisted the ground there. They had to divert roadways. They had to also add on the buildings because this one building, manufacturing building, was separated because of the fault, the earthquakes. A 1.2 tremor over in Parkfield, California today. Going north, Hollister, California, on the Hayward Fault, the southern part of the Hayward Fault, a 1.7 tremor to there. Further north on Hayward, a 1.5 tremor at Alum Rock. Now again, these are not the only earthquakes that have hit here. I'm only telling you about the earthquakes that USGS has here. There are probably another dozen earthquakes in the San Francisco Bay Area and south of there, but they're not talking about them. Directly north of San Francisco Bay, Glen Ellen, California, 1.2 tremor. And just north of there, Santa Rosa, California, a 1.2 tremor. A 1.2 tremor. Northeast of there, Middletown, California, 1.3 tremor. Then almost directly northwest of there, we come to the geysers field. Again, this is another geothermal field where men who drilled into the Clear Lake volcano to harvest steam from the volcano to power turbines. Today, there are about 25 earthquakes there. Most are 1.0 tremors, 1.5, 1.3, 1.2, 2.0 earthquakes. An earthquake that just happened is a 0.8 microquake at the geysers. Again, every time there's a drill point, seismic energy hits that, causing the rock to fracture, causing earth movement, thus earthquakes. That's what's happened today in the geysers facility, all over there. This is in Sonoma County, California, by the way. Okay? 4 different energy conglomerates take electricity from the geysers facility and pump it in California and even all the way to Utah, Rocky Mountain Power in Utah. North of the geysers, almost directly west of Clear Lake, is a 1.5 tremor in Boonville, California. Boonville, California. North of there is a much larger earthquake than that, Willits, California, with a 2.2 magnitude earthquake. Willits, California is responsible for a lot of earthquakes in the last year or so. A lot. Swarms of earthquakes. Today a 2.2 in Willits, California. In the southern area of the Cascadia earthquake fault, Cascadia subduction zone, at the just south of the Triple Junction, we have a 2.1 earthquake just off the coast of Petrolia, and a 2.4 earthquake just west of that. 2 minor earthquakes in the Cascadia region, in the southern Cascadia region. Okay? Then we go north, and I just love this. I get the biggest kick out of it. Southern Washington. Southern Washington. There just happens to be what they call a quarry blast, an explosion. An explosion that's generated a 1.6 tremor. 0.7 of a mile deep. I wish I could show it to you. There is no quarry there. No quarry even near there. No quarry even close to there. This is southwest of Mount Rainier. I'm sorry, not Mount Rainier, southwest of Mount St. Helens. A 1.6 explosion. No, it's a 1.6 tremor, USGS. It's a tremor, not an explosion at all. It's 0.7 of a kilometer deep. Okay? Southwest of Mount St. Helens. At Mount St. Helens, they say there's a surface quake right down the middle of the volcano at Mount St. Helens. 6.6 kilometers deep. 3 miles deep inside the volcano. It's not a surface quake, it's an earthquake. And I just happen to know that there's at least 2 small 3.0 earthquakes at Mount St. Helens, as well as dozens of tremors and minor earthquakes. Okay? Mount St. Helens is getting ready, guys. They show one earthquake that happened at Mount St. Helens, calling it a surface quake. It's not. How can it be a surface quake if it's 6.6 kilometers deep, 3 miles deep? It's an earthquake at Mount St. Helens, caused by magma inside the volcano. Nowhere does USGS even give Mount Rainier, Mount Rainier, Mount Baker, and these other volcanoes even any notice. None. But there is activity in all these Cascade volcanoes, all the way down to Mount Lassen in Northern California. Okay? Over to the Cascade, actually not Cascade, the Olympic Mountain area of Washington. There's a 1.1 tremor there. It's in Cedro-Woolley, Washington. A 1.8 tremor there. Northeast of there, actually that's not Cedro-Woolley, that's in Amanda Park, Washington. In Cedro-Woolley, there's a 1.8 tremor there. Cedro-Woolley, Washington, Northern Washington. Okay? There's a bunch of earthquakes further north. One of the other earthquakes is over at Sitka, Alaska. Sitka, Alaska has a volcano. This earthquake is just south of the volcano. It's a 1.0 tremor. Sitka volcano looks like it's going to getting on the board for a possible eruption as well. Sitka volcano in southeastern Alaska. We've had a lot of earthquakes and tremors there recently. Okay. Then we go over to southeastern Alaska, Yakutat, Alaska. 2.4 and a 2.2 near McCarthy, Alaska. Okay? A lot of earthquakes, a lot of tremors all over southern Alaska. Today, there was a 4.6 earthquake in southern Alaska, just south of Denali. A 4.6 earthquake 53 kilometers northeast of Chase, Alaska. At least that's what they're calling it. Okay? 67 kilometers deep. This earthquake just happens to be on the southern side of the Craton Edge in Alaska. The Craton Edge is Denali National Park. Denali National Park. It's an upside-down sea in southern Alaska. The Craton Edge of Alaska there. Okay? A lot of earthquakes up in that area. There's also a swarm of earthquakes just north of there, almost straight north. Salcha, Alaska, Salcha. About a month ago, we had a 5.0 large earthquake there. That earthquake is still generating aftershocks. There's a small swarm of earthquakes there at Salcha, Alaska. Southwest of there, Anderson, Alaska, just happened. This is a 1.4 tremor there. Going north, northern Alaska. Stevens Village is a 1.3 tremor. That is the only seismic energy that far north. Just south of Mount Redoubt. It looks like Mount Redoubt is starting to ramp up. Minus 0.9 tremor, meaning above sea level. Okay? Small earthquake above sea level. Also 2.4 in that same area, just south of Mount Redoubt. Also south of there, over at Old Ililama Volcano, minus 0.2. Just north of there, a 2.1. Just south of Old Ililama, a 2.3, and also a 1.4. So both of those volcanoes look like they're going to go to business here. Okay? That's what it looks like. One earthquake over by Anchorage. It's a 1.5 tremor over at Anchorage. Nobody felt it. It's too small of an earthquake. Just a tremor over at Anchorage, Alaska today. Does anybody have any questions? I've gone around the world and told you about all the earthquakes. And I haven't told you about everything. I've given you a heads up about the bigger ones. Also over in the Aleutian Islands, a 4.4 moderate earthquake there, 151 kilometers deep. Wow. Wow. Over in the Aleutian Island fault area. Incredible. Any earthquakes? Cat's asking, you like cats by any chance? Yes, I love cats. I had a cat. She died quite a few years ago. Ranchi says, appreciate you very much, Juan. I appreciate that. Really do. Again, if you want to support this channel, please go to our PayPal locations. I will put that information up in the top portion of our program description tonight, just as soon as I get off the air. I'll put it up in the program description so you'll have that information. We appreciate any and all contributions we can get so we can get a decent computer, hopefully in the next few days. Thank you for that. Just briefly, I want to talk to you about emergency preparedness. This is my Bible, okay? My own personal emergency plan. It's over 100 pages thick. I believe this is 125 pages thick. I talk about a little bit of everything. I started my emergency preparedness plan in 2015. I thought I deserved to do it because if I was asking everybody else to do it, I needed to write one of my own. I started this preparedness plan talking about 5 steps in developing an emergency preparedness program, because I wanted to invite everybody else to do the same thing. And I've been talking about preparedness and preparedness plans for a very long time. Developing emergency preparedness plans. Having a specified area where our family can gather during an emergency to be able to use as an emergency operations area for our family. A little office of sorts that we can gather to talk about emergency related issues during our family. Also designating certain adults in our family as emergency response team members. An emergency response team for our family. Okay. You might also consider having in your family, in your home, equipment and supplies that you might need to taking notes or taking information and writing it down for your family. Computers might also help you if you're still able to have electricity in your home that you can write information down. Even to the point where it's not just that. Putting an emergency operations plan into effect. Writing your own plan. Putting emergency phone numbers in your plan. Emergency phone numbers. Everybody's phone number that is in your home. Everybody that has a phone in your home should be put in your emergency preparedness plan. The other emergency numbers could be fire department, police departments, the emergency room, a hospital telephone number, doctors and nurses in your area, veterinarians numbers, school numbers. Wherever your kids go to school, have those telephone numbers there. Okay? Designating each member of your family with duties in your command post, duties in your family during an emergency. Utilizing community resources as part of your family plan and your action plan to respond to the disaster. You also should have in your plan a first-hour checklist of things that you want to accomplish during an emergency. Developing and instituting an incident plan. During a given emergency, you may have various incidents that can happen. You need to have a plan to attack those events, to take care of each and every one of those separate events. Okay? Emergency notification and response plan. You're going to notify other members of your family. You also want to have a family member or somebody special in your family that lives outside of state, that you can contact them to notify other family members of your situation. Because you might not be able to make telephone calls and reach other family members anywhere near you. If you have an out-of-state telephone number to call, those people could relay emergency information to various members of your family that you might not be able to contact. Okay? Emergency notification response. Also in your plan, have emergency procedures. Evacuation procedures. What are you going to do if you have to evacuate, to bug out? We've talked about this before. Responding to a fire alarm or a smoke detector alarm or a carbon monoxide alarm. What are you going to do? Missing children. Say one of your children goes missing. What are you going to do? If you have power and generators, what things do you need to do to follow on a list to set off that generator to get it going? There's always a list of procedures to follow to activate a generator, to provide electricity for your family at your home. In case of fire, what are you going to do in case you have a fire? Natural disasters, heavy rain, floods, flooding in your home. Flooding out in the nearby area. Flooding through your neighborhood. What are you going to do? Wildland fires happen all the time. We're going to soon see hurricane season and wildfire season start up again. Everyone should have a plan for wildfires as well. How about straight line winds? A lot of us have been in situations with straight line winds or tornadoes. Also make note of all that information so you know how to respond with your family for that. What happens when it hurts your family? It knocks over trash cans that go through windows. That's happened a lot. Plate glass windows and doors. What happens when those windows and doors are blown over by straight line winds? Or say you have a weather system that comes into your area, in your city or your neighborhood. That weather system acts like a tornado. It picks up dumpsters and flips them over. That happened in Utah to me. I was living in an apartment complex, and not more than 50 feet away from my apartment, a mini tornado picked up and flipped over a dumpster right in front of us. We watched it happen. Okay? You need to be aware of all these events that happen. What are you going to do? What are you going to do if it picks up and throws your car? Breaks windows in your home? Landslides. If your home is anywhere near hillsides or mountains, you need to think about landslides. Man-made disasters, active shooters, armed robberies and burglaries. They happen in homes as well. Bomb threats. Occasionally a home will get a bomb threat. Guidelines of civil disturbances and procedures. Civil disturbances, we're seeing a lot more of those in the form of great big huge terrorist events. Protests. What if you have a suspicious package that's delivered to your home? That's becoming increasingly an event that happens. Unattended firearms. How are you going to approach that as well? Crisis intervention. Nowadays, a lot of people have problems in their families and with their neighbors. Crisis intervention. Consider that to be part of your emergency plan. How are you going to address that? Medical emergencies. Security procedures for your house and home, for your family. How are you going to approach security and defending your family? Accidents, fatalities, and illnesses of family members or your neighbors. How are you going to respond to that? Sexual battery. Unfortunately, this is getting to be a bigger and bigger issue. Sad but true. And terrorism. Terrorism in your city. What if they come to your home? And they will. I have a plan. I hope you all do too. I just wanted to touch on that just to give you an idea of things in my own plan. I've written probably 150 plans over the years for companies, for neighborhoods, for homeowners associations, for churches and communities. Been there, done that. I want to make sure everybody's prepared. Don Patoka said this, and it's so very true. Relying on a federal cavalry when a major adversity strikes is very risky. The cavalry is not going to arrive for at least 3 weeks to 3 months. FEMA's even saying that now. Government is reactive, not proactive. The government is reactive, not proactive. Rarely do they ever give any information or help you before something happens. They're reactive, typically responding 72 hours or more after the event, up to months. It's incumbent upon each one of us to be prepared. Laura Marie says that's quite a plan. Yeah, it's quite a plan. It took me months and months and even years, and I still revise it today. You can write the plan, but never be afraid to alter the plan. Never be afraid to be reactive to your plan and alter it slightly. Revise it, if you will. Never be afraid to make it better. Okay? Laura Marie says hers needs to be more detailed. A lot of people don't think about how detailed they need to get. I just gave you some examples and I didn't show you everything. I could take probably 8 hours going through this plan with you. Yeah, 8 hours. But I don't like to share everything with everybody because what I say affects me. Other people might know how I'm going to react, and I don't want everybody to know that. Otherwise, they'll take advantage of me and my family, just like they take advantage of you. Each preparedness plan must be made for yourselves. It must be personal. Personal for you and your family. Aid Duck says, get started. Something is better than nothing. Once you get started, please continue. That's the important message that I want to get to you. Once you start, don't stop. Continue. Okay? Continue. Don Patoga's also said here, having books or videos on subjects is great. A lot of people use a lot of videos all over YouTube to get information. And that's fine. But you need to put it together for you. And you need to actually be practicing what you want to do. Practicing makes perfect. Practice your plan and what's in it. That will make it a greater benefit to you and your family. And only you will know whether it really works for you after you practice it. That's what's important here. Okay? Wilson says, I've been watching for a number of years. I appreciate that, Wilson. We all do. We all help each other here. We all try to help each other here. Jason Bender's here in the chat. He said, hello from Wisconsin. Congressman told us on the radio not to worry about it. I'm in the National Guard. I'm on call for April 8th. You said he'll just be another day of work. That's why you told us. It might be just another day of work. But folks, I believe April 8th is going to be the solar eclipse. It could be another day, just another day, but it might not be. We need to be prepared. The congressmen can say anything they want. Many times the congressmen themselves don't know crap from Shinola. And I just said that and I cleaned it up. But it's true. They don't know their butts from a hole in the ground. Scott Williams says, how do you get power, water, and oxygen tanks? I have solar panels here. I have some solar panels. I'll hook it up. I have other things I want to do as well. I have all kinds of things I have here. I have 5 totes of emergency supplies here. I have about 6 months worth of food stored. But anything can happen at any time. I need to get over 6 months worth of food. My wife and I count on that. We're going to get more, and everybody else should too. Once you've reached a week or two of food, work on several months worth of food, and then 6 months worth of food, and then a year's supply. Okay? That's what it takes. That's what it takes. Sweet Polly's asking, what can we do to prevent any rat infestations? Call your pest control people. Also look on the internet. Usually on the internet, there are things that you have in your home that you can put out to get rid of pests in your home or around your house. Okay? Check on the internet. Check on the internet. Maybe even your local pest control expert. You may have pest control people in your neighborhood. They might even have their own ideas as well. Use your neighbors and friends as ways to get information. And then bounce stuff off of each other. That's always helpful as well. Again, don't give everybody every information piece you have. Don't tell everybody about your emergency preparedness plan unless it's your immediate family. Don't tell all your neighbors what you have in your home. Heaven forbid, don't tell any neighbors about nugs or nug seeds, if you will. I've got one on my side. Always. I carry it all the time. My dear friend Carolyn Martin is from Denver, Colorado. She says to keep pests out of food, put all food in glass jars for storage. That's a good idea. Put all your food in glass jars, even in heavy-duty plastic containers. And I'm talking about oats. I'm talking about grains. I'm talking about cereals. Make sure you put them in heavy plastic sealed containers, glass jars. Okay? Keep your homes clean. Keep your homes clean. Thank you for that, Carolyn. God bless you for that. Anyway, folks, we're going to get out of here. I hope you have had a good night. I hope you've got good information from our program tonight. Again, we're been here nearly 2 hours. My gosh, how time flies. 8 ducks is 5-gallon buckets with gamma lids. I've got buckets here, and that's true. You can get buckets at Lowe's and Home Depot. Food grade buckets. Don't get other buckets. Get food grade buckets. You can get them from Emergency Essentials out of Utah. You can order them online to get them. You can get all kinds of things like that. Okay? Laura Marie says, besides having rat-proof containers, I have a bunch of rat and mouse traps. That helps as well. Okay? Demon Catman says, thank you, Ron. Blessings to you. Thank you, Demon Catman. I want to thank all of our mods for being here. You guys have done a great job tonight. Thank you so much. God bless you all. God bless all of you that have come to our program tonight to listen and observe and even help each other. That's what this whole program is about, is helping each other. Sharing information with each other makes us better people and makes us better prepared. May God bless you this night and this weekend. If anything happens tonight, we'll be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Any major event that happens, we'll be back here. Otherwise, we'll be back here Sunday at 12 noon or sometime around 12 noon with Come Follow Me, the Savior Said. Our weekly Sunday is going to be a great class tonight. I want to thank you all for being here. It means a great deal to me. Come over here for Come Follow Me, our Sunday school class on Sunday. I promise it'll be worth your while, and it's going to be a great Sunday school class. Have a great and safe and restful weekend, everybody. God bless you. God bless America. God bless each one of our countries and all of our leaders. Have a great one, guys. I love each and every one of you. I hope you all know that. Good night, everybody. Good night, Juanito. Thank you for being here. God bless you all. See you, Rob. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks, Rob52, for being here. God bless you all. Good night, everybody. Thanks, Olivia, for your contributions to us on PayPal. We appreciate that so much. See you later, guys. Thanks, Rebecca. Thanks, Linda. Linda, I did check our mailbox. We didn't get anything but our friend Phil and Jan from California. I'll check it again Monday or Tuesday. Have a good night, everybody. Much love. See you soon. God bless.